A good day, IOL students. My name is Jacqueline Bok and I am your tutor for this year. The purpose of our intervention today is to gear you to be ready for the examination, to equip you with the knowledge and the resources that you need to be ready for the examination that you will be writing soon. So you are Diploma in Education student, Life Skills 2, DES, LS 21, it's year 2 and it's semester 1. My contact details are on the screen and contact time is 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock weekdays only. Let's just look at the outline. Unit 1, here we examine the content about and teaching of family life aspects, and Unit 2, we analyze the content about and teaching of financial oriented issues. Unit 3, we look here, or we examine the content about and teaching of self-awareness and emotional intelligence elements. We look at Unit 4, where we explore the content about the teaching of relationships, and Unit 5, there we analyze the content about the teaching of democratic leadership. So, Diploma in Education Secondary Life Skills 2. We need to have something in mind what we would want to achieve after this intervention. So upon completion of this module, you should be able to do the following. You must be able, not must, but should be able to examine the content about the teaching of family as life aspects, analyze the content about the teaching of financial oriented issues, examine the contents about teaching of self-awareness and emotional intelligence elements, and 4, explore the content about and teaching of relationships, and the last one is analyze the content about and teaching of democratic citizenship. Let's talk about the assignment. First, we need to pay attention to the format of the assignment, and you should know that what you see, the format of the assignment, it is also your exam paper will also have the same format. So the assignment is actually an opportunity to prepare yourself, to get familiar to what is expected from you when you write the examination. Pay attention to the format of the different questions and the manner in which they are set. This will prepare you for what to expect in the examination. Yeah, we cannot overemphasize it that the assignment is preparation for the examination. There are certain things that we expect from you, and you need to, or you must, type your answers in the spaces provided below each question. You must upload the assignments onto the student portal, and the file which you upload must be in Word 2013 to Word 2016 format and uses a docs file extension, and follow all the instructions for assignment carefully. Your assignment should consist of the following. Your assignment should have a cover page which is provided by IOL, table of contents. Your assignment should have an introduction. Your assignment should have the content should be there in the conclusion and the bibliography. Talking about introduction, do not bother to start, when you start preparing for the assignment, to start with an introduction right away. You first complete the entire assignment and then you write the introduction. What is the purpose of the introduction? It's to guide the reader onto what to expect in the assignment. So it's an introductory paragraph where you tell the reader what does this assignment contain. Then plagiarism, look out for, be on the outlook and do not make yourself guilty of plagiarism. I copied everything straight off the internet. No, it's wrong. When you have internet sources which you would want to incorporate in your assignment, you will have to acknowledge the original writer and do not copy it by verbatim. What does verbatim mean? Word by word. If you read it, then you come and you write a summary of that, of you rephrase or you paraphrase, and then you acknowledge the person whose idea that was originally. So if you acknowledge, if you try as far as possible to rephrase, paraphrase, summarize, and then make reference to who that person was, where you got this information from. There is a link on the screen that you can access to read more about plagiarism. Examinations, this presentation that we are busy with is examination based, so make sure you familiarize yourself with the entire content of the study guide. I am going to focus on bits of pieces, but you need to work through the study guide. Be very clear on what the question asks. The verb use and the label of thinking, you must pay attention to that, because if you are asked to explain, then you must explain. You cannot list, because you will lose marks. If you are asked to list and now you do lengthy explanations, then you will waste your time, because you are doing something which is not asked or for which you won't get marks. You must write clearly or be able to explain yourself clearly, because nowadays we type everything, so you must be able to express yourself clearly, and marking is done holistically. We ask ourselves, can the student think beyond what is written in the study guide? So it's your responsibility, even when you do your assignment, that you do some research, but also acknowledge the sources that you use to compile your assignment. Does it make sense? This is the question that we ask ourselves. Is this reasoning logically? Can they connect to other dimensions? Is the student able to connect to other dimensions in life? We continue and we deal with Unit 1, which is examine the content about and teaching of family life aspects. The social influence on gender roles. Sit down, make notes, prepare yourselves on the following. Values of a society, norms of a society, traditions of a society, morals of a society, attitudes of a society, and beliefs of a society. You will have to prepare yourself in a proper manner to be able to write notes on all of these items I just mentioned. The different gender roles in family. You see, if we look back into the past, then we see that different gender types, a man or let's say the husband or the wife. The husband, he had his own responsibilities, and the wife, she had her own responsibilities. Traditionally, the females are the nurturers and are seen mothering, cleaning, cooking, preparing, and looking after children. Male tend to be the dominating and stronger role players, and are seen making the money, protecting the families, and going out to work to provide. The origin of gender roles can be seen as far back as the beginning of the first form of social life. Men went out to hunt, whilst their women, their wives, they stay behind together. Then men were food suppliers and physically fit, whereas females were homemakers and cooks. These gender roles were needed in order for basic societies to survive. Gender roles in the family are typically defined by the social and the cultural norms of the society we lived in. You see, traditionally it was what we just heard, but we live in a different society nowadays. And you know, there is sometimes that the specific jobs are not only for men, but women can also do that. These roles help a family to fulfill their responsibilities, and any chances in these gender roles can affect the family and its functioning. So you need to prepare yourself properly to write about the different gender roles in the family. We have the single parent, we have the blended, we have the nuclear, we have the sibling, we have the adoptive, we have the extended. Make notes on this and make sure that you can draw a very clear distinction between each or all the items that we put here. You must be able to explain each of them. Then we still busy with Unit 1, and there are ways to be assertive, which can also be used in the family dynamic to avoid blame and disrespect. Now, these ways, these are tips, and it's very important. So I encourage you also to make sure that you know this. Communicate your point of view to the family while still respecting those around you. Your view is as important as other people's views. Not only one person's view matters. Then be open to expressing your thoughts, feelings and desires, and encourage other family members to do the same. Listen to opinions of others. Listen to the advice of others. Take what you need and take and leave behind what is necessary. If you do not like a family member's advice, reject it gently using positive words. You can say, it is in fact a good idea. However, I am not ready for this currently. Don't just be rude to people. Do it in a subtle manner where you do not hurt the feelings of your family members. Admit your mistakes when you are wrong and say sorry when you are wrong. So these are the ways to be assertive, and you need to study them and know them for the examination. We continue with the advantages and disadvantages of having a small family. We have our advantages and we do have our disadvantages. We have 8 for each of them. Each child receives attention from parents. Each child gets more love from parents if it's a small family. Financial costs are less because if you have 2 children, it's double the cost of 1 child. More educational and sporting opportunities, less chance of conflict and rivalry. Rivalry is competition, between children, for example. Then parents have a better quality of life. They less strain for mothers, less health risk, and the last one, there is a higher level of education due to financial ability. Yeah, it's to educate students or children is it's expensive. So if you have less, the family is smaller, then you can send all of them to university. But if it's a big family, nowadays it's very difficult to keep these our children at the university. So then we have the disadvantages. Also, parents can be overprotective. Parents can be overly attentive. This is now the disadvantages of having a small family. So our focus is actually on a small family. A child can become attached to parents, and then the child is often not well-rounded. Then the child can be selfish because the child hasn't shared these things ever. The child do not learn responsibility as well, and the child may feel lonely just being the only child, and the child can tend to have a higher ego. This is what happens. So you must be able to differentiate between the advantages and the disadvantages. Then we go to Unit 2, which is analyze the content about the teaching of financial oriented issues. The implications of growing unemployment, you must discuss that in Namibia. What are these implications? And you must elaborate. You can't just list these, you must have a good discussion on it. Feeling lost, angry, listless, and depressed. Now what is listless? Listless is you have a low energy, you do not want to do things. Lead to a sense of failure, low self-esteem, and desperation to provide for their families and for basic survival. You need to do a discussion on this one. You need to prepare yourself very well. There are different types of unemployment, and let's see, frictional unemployment, structural unemployment, also elaborate on these as cyclical unemployment, technological unemployment, classical or real wage unemployment, and seasonal unemployment. You need to write notes on this and to be prepared to write on these kinds of unemployment. We go to the next one, which is the main motives of people on earth. Are supposed to be the following. Why the motive? What is the motive? What is your role here? What is your role? The motive, ne? To realize one's potential and ideals, and then to achieve biological perfection is the second one. The third one is to seek wisdom and knowledge. This is why we are here, to do good, to do the right thing. But sometimes we forget about this one. Then we opt to do not good, and we opt to do not the right thing. Meanings in relating to religious. This is what keep us alive here. That's what we live for. To love, to feel, to enjoy, and act of living. Enjoy the act of living, or to enjoy being a human being. And sometimes we also forget that we must enjoy what we do here. It's just for a short time. To have power, to be better. So you must be able to elaborate on these items also. This is what the main motives of people on earth are supposed to be, but not always. Borrowing money from loan sharks is a contemporary issue. It's an issue that our society is fighting with. It's an issue that every society, every country, not even Namibia only, but many countries in South Africa, also in our neighboring countries, residents or citizens, they struggle to manage finances, and they are not able to provide for the family with their monthly income. And there's many a times that out of desperation, then they visit these loan sharks. And these people, they can charge an interest rate as high as, this is what they do. It says here 719%. Every 30% makes up what? Loans are on the terms of the lender. And then often the agency does not report to the credit authorities. That's why they just kill their clients. There are often no regulations in place, and you can be arrested if you are late with your payments, and you are often pressurized into borrowing money from other sources to pay back the loan, the cash loan agency. It's very, very, very dangerous. We now look at Unit 3, examine the content about and teaching of self-awareness and emotional intelligence elements. The first item we will be looking at is the human needs model of Maslow. Now, Maslow's model is a motivational model. It's a motivational methodology, a theory, and this is his hierarchy. And you see like something like that looks like a triangle. That Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is based on a 5-tier model of human needs depicted or set out in the pyramid on the screen. And Maslow, he wanted to try and understand what it is that motivates people, né? And he believed that we all have a set of motivations that we want to achieve, and some are more important than the other ones. You must just bear in mind that it starts with the most basic ones. The water, the food, the warm, to have shelter, to rest. Those are the most basic ones. And those are the physiological needs. And it also includes the safety needs, which is security and safety. Then the next level is belonging and love needs, which is intimate relationship, friends. Those are the psychological needs, and that include belongingness and love needs, and then the esteem needs, which is the prestige and the feeling of accomplishment. And the highest one is the self-fulfillment need. So it starts with the basic need, and then it goes up, 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 up. That one, self-actualization, is not, you will not die if you don't have that, whatever, the car or that big house. You just need a house. You don't need a castle to stay in. Self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. So it's very important that you are aware of this human needs model of Maslow, and that you can, or that you do have the knowledge to explain it in depth. Unit 3, we are continuing, and we're still busy with self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Here we will be looking at the characteristics of a person with a high emotional intelligence. That person, and you must also make your own notes on that one. That person can express his feelings clearly and directly with 3-word sentences beginning with I feel. That person does not disguise thoughts as feelings by the use of I feel like and I feel that sentences. That person is not afraid to express his feelings, his or her feelings. That person is not dominated by negative emotions such as fear, worry, guilt, shame, embarrassment, obligation, disappointment, hopelessness, powerlessness, dependency, victimization, or a discouragement. That person is able to read non-verbal communication. So these what I just mentioned about. Those are the characteristics of a person with a high emotional intelligence. You must be able to prepare you on this as well. Then, how to motivate life skills learners and teach them the importance of the subject. You can go through this on your own. What you must know, this comes from study, and it is articulated here, that life skills are the strategies, the techniques, and the approaches all people use to survive and thrive in everyday experience. Life skills, this is what they need to survive and to strive. Some of us acquire life skills without even thinking about it. We learn them from our parents and loved ones. We watch other people, we observe people go about their daily routine, and we perfect our own skill by trial and error, by making mistakes and trying again. For others, life skills might not come as easily. We might simply struggle to figure them out, or we might feel as though no one was ever patient enough to show us the way. Children, like adults, vary a great deal in their ability to pick up life skills. By teaching life skills in the classroom, we can help even the playing field and set children up for success in their lives. So this is the importance of the subject, and this is important that you should also know the importance of the subject. We deal with Unit 3, its constitutional laws of Namibia and the underpinning national values. You need to write about the following: life, justice, empathy. Then you need to elaborate on liberty. Liberty is freedom. Respect our human dignity, so about respect. Slavery and forced labor, freedom. Equality and freedom from discrimination, freedom, truth and justice, arrest and detention, which is justice, fair trial, which is justice and truth, privacy, which is respect, family, which is a civic virtue, and then children rights, caring, justice, empathy, respect, property, freedom and truth, political activities, which is civic virtue, contribution, culture, which is freedom, contribution, respect, education, which is civic virtue, caring, empathy, and fundamental freedoms, which refers to freedom. So, these are the constitutional laws of Namibia and the underpinning national values. You make sure that you know this for the examination. Explore the content about the teaching of relationships. It is important of selecting decent friends rather than popular ones. Yeah. For the examination, you must also be able, how this is possible. Hanging out with the social crowd can be socially rewarding, but perhaps not so emotionally rewarding. Popular friends are fun to have. They get you into all the right places with all the right people, but are they there for you when things fall apart? That's a question. Quality versus popularity, yeah, you must elaborate on that. Sharing and caring, social following, acquaintances, care, honesty, motivation. You sit down, you prepare yourself to write proper notes on each of those items listed. We continue and we see that the characteristics of men and women with regard to their emotional needs. Community style, and where focus is on emotional needs. Men and women. How the emotional needs of men differ from women. Men need to feel needed. Women like to feel cared for and wanted. Men need to feel they have meaning and purpose. Whilst women, they like to feel they are needed and that they have a role to play. Men need to feel they can be counted on. And women like to be able to rely on men, but not all of them. Men need quiet time. Men draw close and pull away and then draw close again. Like I love you, I don't love you, I love you again. Okay. Then men they feel loved through sex and satisfying their wives. We dealt with some of what the women, our women differs, and let's just go back to women like to be able to rely on men. I said sometimes not all of us want to rely on them. Women, they like to chat and converse, to talk, communicate and share their news all the time. It's like me, that one. Women, they need touch, they need intimacy, they and care to tell them that they are loved. If men don't tell women that they love them, it's also a problem. Women wants to know, they want to know that they are being loved. Right. We continue with Unit 5, and here we analyze the content about and teaching of democratic leadership. Here you need to focus on the characteristics of a responsible democratic citizen. Each of us has a responsibility, and they are able to help people resolve conflict in their own family and community. So this is the responsible citizen. They have integrity. They can be trusted, and they can be dependent upon. So you can rely on them to do things for you, and they keep their promises. They live a healthy lifestyle. And not all of us, but they're supposed to do so. They have an awareness of social and environmental issues. You're supposed to do so. So here is just, we have just provided you with a word there, a keyword. You need to add the me to those. Those are the characteristics of a responsible democratic citizen. Then we have internet safety. Unit 5, analyze the content about and teaching of democratic citizenship. We know that all our children at home, they have their own devices. They are connected to the internet, and the internet is not always safe. Not at all. Tips to effectively and safely make use of the internet and social media. Do not disclose your whereabouts or give any to give away your GPS positioning. Even when the bank asks when you go on internet, and my phone always, when I on the internet do banking, we see that there is a pop-up to ask your location. Not even then I give them my location. Do not disclose private information. Do not share photos of yourself that are embarrassing or potentially damaging. Once exposed to the internet, they are available, those photos and images available to anybody at any point in time, and will leave a full footprint. We normally call it a digital footprint even after being deleted. So abstain from those things that we have just covered. Importance of life skill teacher to have counseling skills. Yeah, why should you have counseling skills? We deal with problems every day. Being a life skills teacher is rewarding and challenging at the same time. Life skills teachers, the teacher is responsible for the academic education of the learners, the implementation of basic social skills, and the knowledge about basic life skills issues. As you teach them these skills, your students, you become somebody that they can trust. So they trust you with issues, they don't even trust their family one. When learners trust their teachers, they will feel that they can open up and share the issues that they are going through. These confidential matters. This means that the life skill teacher needs counseling skills, because you are dealing with very, very sensitive information. Unit 5, we carry on. Sustainable natural resources are as follows. These are the sustainable. They have knowledge about this as well. Only keywords have been given to you. You must be able to elaborate. Water, sun and wind energy, air, climate, and land. Then we have some recycling facts. More than 60% of rubbish that ends up in the trash bins can be recycled. Around 16% of the cost of a product is spent on its packaging, which is completely wasted if not disposed of properly. 80% of a vehicle can be recycled. So this is just facts about recycling. And then aluminium cans can be recycled completely and put to use in a short time. Thousands of glass jars and bottles are thrown away every day. Glass can be recycled 100% and reused. Those are the facts about recycling. And this brings us to the end of our presentation. As I alluded to earlier, don't just stick to what we have shared with you. You must have an understanding of the content of your study guide, but with particular focus on what we have shared with you today. With that said, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I wish you well with this academic year, and may you just excel in the examination. Thank you and goodbye.